Another edition of In the Dirt. This is D-Swab enjoying the voice of In the Dirt, Webb, the Thrill, Dillard.
Thank you, D-Swab, for bringing us into the show tonight. Live studio audience here in DeVale, Arizona. Fresh off a trip from BW3s. Lunchtime. Cold beer, chicken wings. Over the weekend here in Arizona, Tim Fuller picks up another win. Chris Simpson waxes the field last night with Jimmy Mars in tow for an MB Customs 1 and 2. And yours truly froze his nads off on the infield. D-Swab, you were in the tower on turn 1. Was it cold?
Oh, yeah, it was cold, just like I like my beer, but it was a pretty good time. We had great shots overall. We had a good show. We had great people, great personalities like Ben Sheldon. He was making plays all weekend. Of course, Rigsby was on our toes a little bit, but it was a great show.
And now tonight we're going to speak with some representatives from Neesmith, talk about the announcement of some schedule. The schedules are out for the 525 series and the Neesmith series. Been out for a while, but the 525 really, that schedule people have been looking for. We're also going to have on the program Mike Pegher from the Northeast. He's a Crate late model pilot. He was a pirate from the Crate model series. Pilot from the Crate late model series. And then we're going to have the director of the Dirt on Dirt pay-per-views, Jay Williams. He does a lot of the University of Wisconsin productions. How about Jay? Jay does a good job, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's a great guy. He always keeps us on our toes yet again, but he's like a little more laid back than Michael, but at the end of the day, we have a great show thanks to Jay Williams, MVP of the whole show.
And he drove home from BW3s. Without further ado, let's bring on my...
Webb, D-Swab, what's going on down there in Arizona, my man?
Well, here at the Dirt on Dirt Casa, we had a water main break, so we were without water for a minute, but we handled that situation. Have you got snow on the ground in Ohio?
Dude, it went from, well, we had mid-20 weather to mid-70s, and it's back down into the mid-20s. So, you know, it snowed, ice, then came a big rain, heat wave, and now everything's frozen again. So that's the story of Ohio Cincinnati weather. You never know what you're going to get.
Well, I went back to Atlanta the other night for the Neesmith Late Model Series banquet, and flew back here, and man, I got sicker than a dog last night. I'm kind of bearing with it as we speak. Right now, I've got Dayquil in me and some airborne. I guess all the flying makes you sick. That's probably the downfall of going from it.
I thought you guys were trying to drink your way through it.
We were trying to drink our way through it today a little bit. But I'll probably
it's not working out for you.
No. I had a couple fat tires, and I guess Dayquil is probably better for you than a fat tire. Douche beer is Wade Logan.
Hold on, explain to me. Fat tire.
Yeah, fat tire is a beer.
Really?
It's made in Fort Collins, Colorado. It's really good beer.
Oh, my God.
New Belgium Brewing Company. We would like for you to be a sponsor of In the Dirt anytime you're ready.
Fat tire.
Fat tire, and not to do a commercial.
It sounds like the perfect, sprint car drink.
The perfect sprint car drink would be fat tire.
Yeah.
Wade Logan knows fat tire is douche beer.
Right, and that's sprint car drivers.
Quick sprint car drivers are douchey, I guess. Okay, I'm following you now.
Well, for the most part, most of them are. Some of them can kick ass, though.
What is the relationship between what's with the Swindells and Jody Shannon?
Well, from what I understand, the Swindells are ass kickers.
Yeah, but he said you couldn't be friends with him.
Who, with the Swindells?
Yeah. Well,
maybe they're like, who knows? It's hard to be friends with Jody. Most people know that.
Well, Jody's all right. Jody's been good to everybody, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But some people would say that. Some people would say that it's hard to be friends with Jody, and from what I understand, it's hard to be friends with the Swindells. So, I mean, you put those two concoctions together, and it's like almost a no-win situation there. They're probably better off as enemies than as buddies.
Gotcha.
That's the only thing I can figure. So give me the update on this crap going on out there. Now, you said you wasn't there, and you didn't see Jimmy Mars freaking just take Brad Looney out, just shoot, dump his ass?
I was in the infield. Are you talking about last night?
No, last night he ended up finishing second.
Yeah,
I wasn't there. The night before, the night that Tim Fuller won, Looney was leading the race, right? Am I pronouncing his name right? Is that correct?
Tim Fuller.
No,
right?
Yeah, Tim Fuller won. But who was the guy was he in the 14? Is his name Brad Looney?
Yeah, you're pronouncing it right. I didn't get to see it. Jay, let's bring you on early. Come here, Jay. Talk to us about the Looney-Mars incident on Saturday night. What happened? What did you see?
Let's see. It's right down the front stretch. Looney was going into 1, and Mars just came off 4 pretty fast and probably was going, I don't know how much faster than Looney, and got into him a little bit, didn't get the brakes fast enough, and nudged him, took a spin. He didn't hit the wall or anything. He just took a little spin, and Mars went by him, and Looney had to go to the tail for the caution.
Is that not how you saw it? Is that not how the people saw that incident, Brian?
I didn't see it as he gave him a little tap. I seen it as, hey, I'm staying in the gas and I'm spinning your ass out. That's what it looks like to me. And I'm wondering why Jimmy Mars isn't wearing an ass whooping today.
His recollection, he said that he saw it as Mars stayed into the gas and he was going to wreck his ass, and he wants to know why Mars ain't toting an ass whooping today.
I don't know. This is beyond my racing knowledge, but if he didn't send him into the wall, he wasn't on the gas that hard. He could have.
Well, he spun him down into the infield.
Your Derek in the lift if he wanted to, but it looks like Derek has some opinion on this too.
D-Swab is coming to the microphone now. What did you see there at turn number 1?
Looney was fast all night. He was winning 3/4 of the race, but at the end of the day, I thought Looney came up to him. I was on the turn 1 lift, so I could see a pretty good thing, and I thought Looney came up a little bit. Both guys were fast, and I feel like it wasn't a race incident. They both said after the race that it wasn't, so I feel like it was nobody's fault. I feel like Mars was faster, and maybe Looney just got into him a little bit, but it's whatever. I mean, Mars won, and Looney had to go to the back on a premature caution, by the way, because Looney probably could have ended up 4th or 5th, but the flagman called a caution pretty early because he said he stopped, which he didn't. So feel bad for Looney. He had to go to the tail end, but hey, it happens. It's racing. It happens all over America. You can't help it.
Boom, he says.
The flagman is a flippin' idiot. Jimmy Mars is a douchebag.
Jimmy Mars is a douchebag.
Brad Looney
here
is obviously the biggest pussy in dirt late model racing. That's all there is to it. That's the bottom line. There is no way in hell that you should let somebody do that to you and you not get and it's one thing to retaliate on the racetrack and whatever. And I've told everybody this over and over and over again. It's one thing to let somebody push you around and do whatever the hell they want to do. And regardless of who they are, you got to stand up for yourself, whether or not you're going to wear an ass whooping or give an ass whooping. One way or the other, ass whooping is called for in that situation. That's all I'm going to say about that. Next subject.
I hear you. Next subject. Well, tonight we're going to have Roby Helm's going to come on and join us and talk about the banquet over the weekend in Dawsonville, Georgia for the Neesmith Late Model Series, plus the announcement of the 10-race 525 schedule that was released at the banquet. Hey, Jeff Purvis was there, by the way. You've heard that guy, hadn't you?
Yeah, he was an old NASCAR guy, right? But
yeah,
previously that big-time dirt late model guy.
That's right. He accepted an award from the Neesmith Series, and pretty good guy. Also, we're going to have Mr. Pegher on from the Northeast. He's a fast track driver, but he will be racing both rush and fast track. And then at the end of the hour, about 7:40, 7:45, we'll have Jay Williams back on, and he directs all the pay-per-views for Dirt. He does like the coaches shows from the University of Wisconsin. I mean, he's a big deal. He's a big deal than me and D. Suave. You agree, D. Suave? He agrees from across the kitchen.
So give me the scenario here. Are you guys sitting in like an open living room there and you're seeing everybody in the house?
Right now I have Ben Shelton to my right. Oh, no, he's not to my right. He was to my right working. Jay Williams is working. We have a common area. The kitchen table is a workstation. I got D. Suave over here on his iPad. Miss Dirt on Dirt got to town, so Michael and his wife they're off gallivanting around. So yeah, we're just here at the Dirt on Dirt stables waiting for Wednesday.
What's Wednesday?
Wednesday is the next pay-per-view race. Wednesday evening, about 7 Central, Jay? 6, 7, 8 Central, something like that. All right, well, let's go ahead and move forward in the program. Looks like we have Roby Helm on hold. Welcome to the program for probably his third or fourth visit here. Roby Helm, how are you?
I'm doing good, just getting a rowboat and canoes out and everything. We've been raining here since about yesterday afternoon.
I was briefly in the southeast over the weekend, and I seen the forecast, and you guys were supposed to get a lot of rain. But real quick, was that not just a good banquet the other night at the Georgia Racing Hall of Fame? It
was awesome. I mean, that's one of the best banquets that I've ever been to, and I've been to a lot of them over 30 years. And I mean, you could just feel the excitement in the room, and you know, everybody's happy to be there, and everybody had great things to say about it in social media, on Twitter and Facebook, and they're still saying how great it was. So I mean, it was really something. I mean, we had 4 National Dirt Late Model Hall of Fame drivers in the house with us: Jeff Purvis, Ronnie Johnson, Jerry Inman, and Herman Goddard. So that made it special. And I mean, when you have a banquet in a place like the Georgia Racing Hall of Fame, that place just oozes with history. And, you know, as Mike said in the State of the Series address, he couldn't think of a better place to make history, in a place where history lives.
And if anybody out there listening hasn't been to the Georgia Racing Hall of Fame and can get there, I mean, you got guys like Raymond Parks. He has a car in there, right, Roby?
Oh, yeah, Raymond Parks, Goober Sosby. I mean, you can just go right down the line. Fonny Flock, Tim Flock, of course, you know, Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott's got his own wing of that place. His son, Chase Elliott, and our 2012 champion, Matthew Turner's got his own corner there, too. And they're going to have to expand that. That thing's about full of trophies and Ironman awards and Neesmith Cups now and growing.
Well, the two things that stand out, of course we were there to honor our champions, but the two things that stand out to me were Turkey Turner's speech and Mickey Trosclair's. What was your interpretation of both of those speeches?
Turkey's was, I mean, we kind of figured he'd get emotional about it, but, I mean, he brought the house down. And it started as soon as we made the announcement. I don't think he knew he was getting that award. And when he started towards the stage, everybody got up on their feet. And usually your standing ovations, you know, are basically reserved for the 2 champions and probably the Bob Cross Memorial Lifetime Achievement Award winner. But when they all stood up and gave Turkey Turner a standing ovation, I mean, the roof came off the place. I mean, you could just feel the emotion in the air. And then when he got up there and started speaking from the heart. I mean, it was an unscripted presentation that he gave. He was just talking from the heart. And, I mean, he just told an awesome story about how Matthew, his son, Matthew Turner, went through high school, and he didn't have any interest in racing at all. Of course, Turkey's been around racing all his life, going to the races. And, I mean, he wanted nothing more than to have his son follow in his footsteps, but Matthew wanted to play football. And then I believe his senior year in high school, he got hurt playing football. He couldn't play football anymore, and Turkey talked about, how Matthew was laying on the couch all depressed and everything. And one day he said, look, I got to do something. He said, Daddy, I think I want to go racing. And Turkey said, I went out and bought him a car the next day. And, as he said, the rest is history. And then when he talked about going into this season, somewhere in the early part of the season, he said, Matthew and I don't argue very much, but he said we had a big one then about the first part of the season, because Matthew came up to his daddy, who'd been with him every step of the way in his career. I mean, he's been there with him from day one. Matthew said, look, if I'm going to win this championship, I want to do it my way. And Turkey talked about how that Elvis Presley song kept going through his mind, and I was getting a little nervous because I thought maybe Turkey was going to break out in song, but he didn't. He didn't put us through that. But he said it just reminded him of Elvis Presley's song "My Way," and he said, he said, Matthew, you won the championship, and I mean, with all the emotion that he had, said that he's just the proudest daddy on the face of the earth, and I think that said it all right there.
Well, then, of course, Matthew come up and he accepted the championship. He had a speech of his own, but it was pretty cool that he got to give out Hoosier jackets to his whole entire crew. How did that situation come about?
Well, that's just something that Matthew did on his own, and we had a box delivered to the hall, and it was all for his crew members. And the thing that a lot of people don't know about that moment was Matthew's got a pretty large crew. And I think of the guys on his pit crew, I think the smallest one goes about 250 maybe.
Yeah, they're an offensive line.
Huh?
They're an offensive line somewhere.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and Dustin G., the crew chief, he goes about 275, 280. He walked up and he said, is this stage going to hold us all? I said, step up there, big boy, and we'll find out. I said, don't worry about it. We'll clean up the debris. But the stage held out, and everybody got their recognition, which was cool. And, I mean, Matthew did a great job with his speech. And, Matthew is known to get emotional, and I was real proud of him because, he didn't break down. And, even if he did, it wouldn't have mattered. It was all about the moment. Here's a guy that has been to every race the Neesmith Chevrolet Dirt Late Model Series has ever held since its inception in 2005. And it took 146 races for him to earn his way up to the head table and to be the last guy to get an award, which is reserved for the national champion. And, it's like I said up there, there's a lot of trophies in that Hall of Fame, and there's Winston Cups in there from Bill A., and now there's a Neesmith Cup in there. And there's a bunch of trophies in there that nobody else will ever have as far as trophies go. That's that Iron Man Award, and I think Matthew's got about 5 of them in there. So, that's just remarkable.
Well, taking nothing away from our champions, of course, each champion, Chase Washington and, of course, Matthew Turner, honored. They went to Indianapolis, had their cars in the Hall of Champions, were honored by Tony Stewart and all that comes with a champion. But at the banquet, Mickey Trosclair, you have to admit, he put on a pretty classy display, congratulating Chase, but then he did something that a lot of us hadn't seen before. He started talking about his mother, and you take over from there, Roby.
Well, I'd never seen anything like this before at a banquet. When you have two guys that like Chase Washington, who did a fantastic job in his award, and we recognized his mentor, Hall of Famer Jerry Inman, but you had two guys that tied in the championship after 27 weeks. I think Chase ran 44 races, Mickey ran 43 races, and just not around their home. They traveled from one end of the country to the other. They'd go as far as traveling 800 miles just to net 1 or 2 points. And they both had a remarkable year, but we only have one championship trophy and one championship check for $10,000. But I've got to tip my hat to Mickey Trosclair. He handled it with a lot of class. And, he got up, he thanked his sponsors and everything, and, he made sure that you were going to get one of those burgers that sponsors him there and everything. I thought that was pretty cool. But then he got off script, and he started just talking from the heart. And, I mean, that's when people really make a difference in how people look at them, when they can speak from the heart and they can really convey what they're trying to say. And Mickey started talking about his mother, because he said when he started racing as a young teenager, he had to have his mother's blessing for his daddy to build him a race car. And she gave the okay for him to have a race car under one condition, that he kept his grades up. And Mickey talked about that he wasn't that good in school at that time, and he was kind of the class clown and really didn't take it seriously. But to have a race car gave him the motivation to do well in school and all that. And his teachers noticed the difference in him and asked him what was the difference. He says, well, I've got a race car now. And the teacher wanted to know all about the race car, and it really turned Mickey around in school, and his grades came up. And I mean, that's one of the great things about racing and for young kids, and the way that the parents present it to them, that, hey, look, you got to do well in school before you can get this race car, and you can keep this race car, and we'll keep it running for you as long as you keep those grades up. And that's what Mickey Trosclair did. And to make a long story short, he dedicated his season to his mother, Sharon Trosclair. And while he was up on the stage, I was standing down off to the side there, and somebody walked in with this big bouquet of flowers and sat it down on the stage. And I'm going, well, what's all that for? He said, that's for Mickey. And I thought, well, his crew member giving flowers, was kind of scratching my head about that. But when Mickey got done with his speech and dedicated to his mother, I mean, he had his trophy, he had his jacket, he had his envelope with his point fund check and all the contingencies in. He had an armful, but he reached down and grabbed that bouquet of flowers, and he walked straight back to his mother and presented his mother with those bouquet of flowers and gave her a big hug. And I mean, that was a real touching moment, and really showed what Mickey Trosclair is all about. I mean, you read what he writes on social media and all that, and he likes to stir it up a little bit, and I mean, he'd make a great co-host for your show doing all that. But, I mean, he'd give Brian Gray there a run for his money, I'm telling you.
Well,
and but that just showed, you take all that away from the surface of Mickey Trosclair, and you saw at that banquet what that boy's made of.
Miss Debbie Edge walked up, and I told him after he got off stage, I said, Mickey, that was class. I was watching Mike Vaughn. I said, I think you make Mike Vaughn pretty proud too. Well, Debbie Edge came up to him, and she basically said the same thing I said. She said, like, I'm proud of you as a son for talking about your mama like that. So I think Trosclair and Turkey actually stole the show last night, or not last night, but a couple nights ago. Moving forward, we had an announcement. We introduced the schedule for the 525 series. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's been a year in the making, and we finally got all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and we're going to launch the Chevrolet Performance Super Late Model Series around the CT525 engine, the $7,000 CT525 engine that Chevrolet Performance puts out. That's going to be the exclusive engine for the series, and they're all going to be riding on the $135 Bill Stein spec shocks. And we're going to start it in the middle of the summer. It's going to start with a pair of 3,000 to win races. It'll start on August the 2nd at Penton Raceway in Penton, Alabama, and then the next night it'll move to East Alabama Motor Speedway in Phoenix City, Alabama. And we've got the bookend set. It's going to end on October the 12th at Talladega Short Track in East Teboga, Alabama. And we're in the process now of filling in the dates. We've got several other tracks that are going to participate in the Chevrolet Performance Super Late Model Series, and that'll be Tazewell Speedway, Magnolia Motor Speedway, 411 Motor Speedway, and Boyd Speedway. So it's going to be a pretty stout little 10-race series by the time we get it done. It'll have its separate point fund, and there's a lot of interest in that because, I mean, we've already got an all-star lineup of drivers that have committed to this thing, and it's going to be something the fans are going to want to come out to see because Ronnie Johnson's going to be in it. along with two-time Neesmith Chevrolet Dirt Late Model Series champion David Earl Gentry, the 2013 Ice Bowl winner Ross Martin and his son Adam Martin, and they're going to be Matthew Turner, our 2012 Neesmith Chevrolet Dirt Late Model Series champion, will be in it, along with Johnny Stokes. Chase Edge is going to be in it. So, I mean, those are just the drivers off the top of my head. There's a lot more that are really interested in this series, and I think William Thomas said something about that he might be getting a 525 to run in this thing as well, because, I mean, you know, he knows his way around Penton Raceway and East Alabama Motor Speedway. Just about anywhere he goes, he's fast, and no matter what he's driving. So, I mean, it's going to be a very impressive series with a lot of star power in it and a lot of impressive names, and that just means good competition.
Well, Roby, we finally put the 2012 season to bed with the banquet, with the announcement of the 525. We also have the Street Stock Series in Mississippi. In the words of Mike Vaughn, what did he say about when he did his state of the series address? What was his exact words about the series?
He said the series is very good. You know, he usually gets up there and he says the state of the series is good, but this year's different. I mean, Mike has a lot more excitement about it. He talked about that there's a lot of days that, you know, with things that go on behind the scenes and even at the races, that he just wants to throw up his hands and just forget about it and just you know, get rid of the series, quit the series, and just sit back there in Cartersville and sell cars. But, you know, he said that he's more excited this year, you know, than he has been. And you know, Mike was reading the state of the series off a script, and he really doesn't like to get off the script, but he has a hard time conveying his excitement when he's reading off the script, and it was written in that script that, you know, if he could, that, you know, he was so excited that he could just do a cartwheel across the stage, but he said he was going to spare us of that because it would be ugly and he'd probably hurt himself.
Yeah, so, that was not something I don't think anybody there wanted to see.
Yeah.
We're about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, about 2 weeks away from Ocala. We have 5 nights of racing there in Ocala. What's the race format there in Ocala for the Neesmith Series?
Okay, we're going to start out with practice on Monday night, January the 28th, and then after that we'll have 5 straight nights of racing. There'll be 4 2,000 to win races on Tuesday through Friday night, and then on Saturday night the finale will be a 3,000 to win 50-lap event. The other 4 races will be 40 laps, and we're going to kick off the season a little bit different than what we usually do. As far as Touring Series national points go for season points, we're going to let the drivers take their best 3 nights, point nights, and count them towards their championship points for the season. So, you know, they can throw their worst 2 point nights away on that deal. But in addition to that, we're going to have a separate point fund for the 5 nights of racing. It'll be a $10,000 cash point fund, and we also have a lot of contingency awards we're going to be giving away, and it'll pay back 30 spots for drivers that participate in all 5 nights of racing. So, I mean, we've got some great contingencies that they can win, and each one is worth $500 or more. So, I mean, we've got Vallecita is going to give away a $900 driving suit, custom driving suit. Also, they're going to give away a set of 6 custom-made crew shirts. We're going to give away a set of Hoosier tires. We'll give away a drum of VP Racing Fuel. KRC is going to give away a pump, a power steering pump kit. We've got AR Bodies that's going to give away nose piece and some accessories, and we've got Dominator Race Products. They're going to give away a roof kit and all the pillars and everything that go with that. So, I mean, we've really got some great prizes that we're going to be giving away to the top 30 drivers. And the way we're going to do that is they've got that little lounge there at Bubba Raceway Park in Ocala, Florida, where we're going to have those first 5 races. And after Saturday night's race, we're going to have a award ceremony in that little lounge there. And they've got a bingo machine there that they use for the draw for their local divisions. And it's one of those deals like you see on the lottery where the numbers pop up through the tube, and we'll have 1 through 30 in there, and we'll say, here's a set of tires from Hoosier Race Tire, and if number 23 pops up, the guy that finishes 23rd in the points will get that. So I think we're going to have a tremendous field of cars down there with all this going on with the separate point fund and all the contingencies, and it's going to – Bubba Raceway Park is a great place for racing. I mean, that World Championship race we had the 1st of December was one of the toughest races I have ever had to announce because we had so much going on. From one end of the field to the other, they were battling 3 wide for the lead up front, beating and banging, and, even under caution. So, and then, all through the field, they were running 2 and 3 wide. You had Matthew and Turner and David Earl Gentry battling for the championship, and they were going back and forth in the points. So, Bubba Raceway Park, boy, that is an exciting place to watch a race. And when that track is right, and Bubba and his crew usually have it right, it is one great place to watch some racing.
Oh, the big end of the year race there. Looking forward to getting back down there. Roby, thank you very much for joining us this evening on In the Dirt. Next week we're going to be introducing the Neesmith race report. I'm sure I'll have you on next week to introduce that race starting Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Central, just like the In the Dirt on Mondays, but on Tuesdays. I guess I'll just see you in Ocala, Roby.
I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the new show. And one, before we close the book on the banquet, I want to congratulate Jeff Purvis on winning the Bob Cross Memorial Lifetime Achievement Award. A lot of people out there know Jeff Purvis either from dirt track racing or from asphalt racing or both. And, this guy's just an icon in the sport. And he played an instrumental role in the formation of the Neesmith Chevrolet Dirt Late Model Series. He twisted Mike Vaughn's arm hard enough to get him to do it, and he also twisted the arm of Chevrolet Performance to come up with that CT525 engine, which they did. And Jeff deserves a lot of credit for what we've done and where we've been with this series. And it was great to see him and recognize him for what he's done in racing through the years. So I just wanted to mention that with Jeff Purvis winning that Bob Cross Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah, Jeff was impressive, and he mentioned he's like, how do I follow Turkey Turner? Is what he said when he got the city.
Yeah, he was the next guy up after Turkey Turner, and boy, that was a tough act to follow right there.
Tough act to follow. Well, Roby, 2013 is certainly going to be pretty huge for the Neesmith family of series. We have the Rush Series join us as a sister series. Looking forward to promoting them guys in the Northeast. And, hey, buddy, we'll talk to you down in Ocala, man. Okay,
Webb. Thanks for having me on.
Not a problem, sir. Roby Helm, the voice of the Neesmith Dirt Late Model Series. Up next, we're going to go to Mike Pegher. Mike, welcome to the program, brother.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Just hanging out on a Monday night like we've done for the last 16 months. You are a crate late model pilot with a few super late model starts in the Northeast. What is the scene up that way?
A lot more racing coming up our way this year with Mike and Vicky parting ways with Fast Track. Bringing the new Rush deal. I'm looking forward to it. Last year with us racing a little bit of supers and doing a little bit of crate racing, this year we're going to do some more super racing. But now with both sanctions being up here and a lot more crate racing, a lot more money races, we're just planning on just trying to race as much as we can.
And you're obviously one of the guys to beat up there. What is the overall thought of the competitors in the Northeast about having two series to compete with?
To be honest with you, some people like it, some people don't like it. I personally, we decided last year we weren't going to follow, the Fast Track Tour race this year, just because we wanted to do some more super races this year. So really, all it does is sort of benefits us because when I do get a chance to race crates, hopefully we can go off and do some rush work, Fast Track racing, but. For more money is that, but I'm looking forward to the whole deal, really.
Well, and any time you have choices, though, as a racer, that's got to be good. I mean, obviously, I work for Neesmith. We're related, so to speak, to Rush. But I have to think from a competitor standpoint, if you have decisions to make on where you're going to race, that's got to be better than having only one choice.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and Mike and Vicky, they work really hard up here with all their stuff. You know, I mean, just getting the tracks and having the manufacturers' nights and all that stuff. I mean, they really work hard and having big points out or big money shows for us. So, like I said, we're definitely looking forward towards the crate racing, but I'm more looking forward towards the super end of it.
Well, okay, so obviously you're familiar with the racing down south, and we're dry slick racetracks, and as my buddy D Swab, who's from the north, just hit garbage. But what should the southern folks know about the tracks that you guys compete on up there? Lernerville, Sharon, McKean, Black Rock. What should we know about those speedways that we couldn't possibly know without being there?
I mean, all the tracks up here, like Lernerville, it's a 4/10, semi-bank red clay track. We race there every Friday night with the supercar. It starts out hammered down, and as the night goes, it gets slippery. It's just like, the south tracks down south. They're a little bit more different, but they're all about the same, really. I mean, you got Sharon. Sharon is a little bit more like of a sandy, gritty track. It gets rubbered up, and when it gets rubbered up, boys, it's fast. But I mean, it's just like any other track, really.
So what was your evolution in racing? Where did you start at?
I actually started racing motocross in like 2000. And I did that. We did that for a few years, and my whole family's my grandfather and my father. They all raced street stocks, semi late models, and then I got into go-karts 2002, and moved in from street stocks from go-karts, and then started racing crates for Lynn Geisler.
I mean, there's a few guys that actually come from motocross. I mean, do you get the same thrill of jumping whoop-de-doos and tabletops that you do with hanging it sideways and turn forward? Yeah. I mean, I wasn't when I started racing motocross, I was the guy getting lapped 4 or 5 times, an 8-lap race. But I enjoyed doing it, and my uncle started racing go-karts, and that was more. I think that was more for me. That's when I started racing go-karts. But I still enjoy anything with go-karts. You even go to a local restaurant or anything with racing. You even go to a local restaurant and you put $1 in a machine and you race with somebody. It's still racing. Well, this past year in your 2012 stats, it says you had 8 late model starts, super late model starts. Top 5's 3, top 10's 4. Is that the progression that you guys are taking your racing program? Yeah, we're slowly and surely getting, doing more super stuff. This year we actually got another supercar, so we're going to have 2 of them now, and, we're going to run Lernerville for points on Friday nights, and then going to do a little bit of travel with that within like a couple hours from the house, just to, sort of get my feet wet a little bit, different tracks. And, it's something I'm really looking forward to. I love crate racing, met a lot of good people, raced against a lot of people in it, but, it's something I'm looking forward to doing is move up. Back on June the 30th, you guys made the show for a World Outlaw show. What's it like to have those guys come to your town, a track you said you raced at every Friday night? What's it like for those guys to come to town and for you to make the show? That was just, to go to Lernerville and make the firecracker, it was just really good for us as a team. We went there, we raced Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, and, we raced, just racing that car on just usually Friday nights. We raced 3 nights in 3 days. We learned a lot, just from racing with them guys. That it's a big difference racing with the big guys anyways, but, just to make my first World Outlaw start and to make it at Lernerville was a big deal for us. And, we stayed out for probably half the race or so. And, I'm hoping to this year make it again and hopefully do all 100 laps. Now, I don't want you to sell yourself short. You became quite the household name in the crate late models. But who in the world of Outlaws were you most impressed with being on the track with, or being driving next to? Who made you nervous? Who are you most impressed with, and who made you nervous?
It was actually a couple of weeks before the firecracker. Chubb Frank come down, and we battled for second for probably, I want to say 8 or 10 laps. Me and Chubb passed each other, and that was probably the biggest thing. Was I could race with Chubb Frank. But during the firecracker, during one of the heat races, I started in the back, qualified bad, started in the back, and I come up to, I forget, like 5th or 6th or 7th, and I was actually catching Dale Lanigan, and that right there, I could have loaded the car up and just talked about that. But that's it's the biggest thing. Is the more laps we get, the better I think I'll get, and that's sort of what we're going for this year.
All right. Well, since you led into this coming year, talk to us about what are some more of the intricate details of the schedule coming up in 2013?
Our first race is going to be with the Neesmith down there at Bubba's.
Nice.
We're going to head down there for them 6 nights of racing. We're actually planning on I was up the shop working on the stuff, trying to get it finished up, but we're sort of a little bit ways from that. But we're leaving up here the 26th to head down there, and hopefully going to stay the whole week as long as everything goes as planned anyways.
Excited for that. I'll be down there. I'll be filming each and every event at Ocala at Bubba Raceway Park. Past that, you said earlier you're going to probably race some of the rush, some of the fast track. What super shows have you got on the map right now? Like I said, we're going to do every Friday night at Lernerville, and Number One Cochran's our big sponsor, and they're a local car dealership for us. So that's sort of a commitment we have to do with them, is race Lernerville every Friday. So we're going to do Lernerville for points every Friday. And then I don't think we're really going to travel with anything. We're just going to do some hit and miss shows up here. Never know. We might even go to Erie's for the World Outlaw show up there. But, I just want to do some local stuff and get the super out to different tracks, like a Roaring Knob. They're a Rush series track, but they take the super down there, and I'm pretty familiar with that track with my crate, so go down there and see if we could pull off some good stats down there with the super as well. Well, Mike, we and you talked 2 or 3 weeks ago. I told you I want to have you on the show, so excited to have you on the show. Before we let you get out of here, first thing I want to say is I will come by the pits at Ocala. We'll shake hands. I want to meet you. I want to meet your crew. Welcome to Neesmith Rush family, so to speak. Before I let you get out of here, I want you to thank some of your sponsors and also thank the crew members that keep your guys' car running up front. Yeah, I got like you said, crew guys. Without the crew, you can't do nothing. But Number One Cochran, they're a big help. Number One Cochran Automotive, Triple S Auto Outlet, Pegher Painting, Scott's All American Framing, Zero Wraps, Race 18 Race Engines, and my crew. Lynn Geiser owns all my stuff. He's a big help, and Mike Bruner. If it wasn't for Mike, he's the guy that's with me every night at the shop and every race we go to. Well, Mike, make sure you guys pay attention to what's going on with us. We're going to have starting on Tuesday nights next week, we're going to have the Neesmith Race Report, which will include the Rush Racing Series from the Northeast. So we're looking to have you guys back on. You guys get a big win or whatever, we'll have you back on, and we'll talk about it. So congratulations on last year, and look forward to meet you down in Ocala, brother. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you very much. Mike Pegher, racer out of the Northeast. Hollywood, you still there?
Oh, dude, I'm still here.
Where you at?
I thought that was you, man!
What's that?
You know what I am? I'm your worst fucking nightmare, man. I'm a nigga with a badge. That means I got permission to kick your fucking ass whenever I feel like it.
What do you think about that?
Oh, my. Is that Rufus?
My name is Johnny Wishbone.
Johnny Wishbone. All right, moving forward in the program, we got about 15 minutes left.
Don't have a lot of people hanging around the car because it's going to draw attention to yourself.
I'm going to bring
I'm finding all kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're playing all the Eddie Murphy stuff from. That's awesome. I love that. But let's get to our friend from
I got all kinds of them.
Oh, we'll play a couple more real quick.
I was going to use this one.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
You like that?
Or
we could, or we got this nice, when you have to do your station identification stuff, Webb, you can use this one.
This is KTIT, K-Tit, playing the best tunes in town.
Well, let's welcome to the program real quick. In-house here we have...
Damn, I'm good.
All right, that's enough for now.
Quit.
Jay Williams, Jay, you come to us from Madison, Wisconsin. You are with Parker Street Productions, but you're also the director for the Dirt on Dirt pay-per-views, which is up to how many now?
I think the last one we did last night. No, is that last night? Yeah. Man, I don't even know what day it is. We've done 20 over the last 3 years.
And you're more known for your Wisconsin stuff. You do the coaches shows for the football, the coaches shows for the basketball. So you're not exactly a Dirt Late Model fan, but you've done 20 shows, and you're the guy calling the shots. You send the signal to all the people who are the subscribers to the pay-per-view. What have you learned over the last 20 shows?
Jimmy Mars is the number 28. Scott Bloomquist is number 0. Billy Moyer, the 21. What I've learned is that it helps to know who these guys are. I didn't grow up with them. I'm not a Dirt on Dirt subscriber. I don't pay attention to it that much until it's time to get going. So now, 20 shows in, I've learned to pick up pretty quickly who these guys are and who the important drivers are. So it's Weaver. Yeah. Thanks, D-Swab. Who these guys are, because those are the ones that everybody wants to see around the country that tune in for this thing, and so I'm trying to learn, but I am still learning. That's for sure.
Now, isn't it? And even I follow this stuff. I mean, I'm in it. D-Swab's in it. We got Mount Rigsby over here. He's in it. But isn't it amazing that there's so much interest in our genre of motorsports? I mean, does that amaze you to know that there's that many people out there that want to watch this?
Well, I think that tells you why Dirt on Dirt has been successful too. Is that there is this niche that has been undercovered. Maybe there aren't enough fans to be on CBS every Saturday night or Sunday night or whatever, or ESPN even, but maybe the Ocho at some point. But just because high school football isn't on ESPN all the time doesn't mean that thousands of people don't go to those games every week and enjoy it. So, I think it's great. I've gone to dirt tracks before when I worked in TV, and people love it. You got Steve and Will Gidges out here, D-Swab on the camera, Derek Kessinger, myself on camera. When you look at the screens, and you have all these screens to choose from, we have a camera, we have a screen for that camera. When you look at these cameras, do you lack for one in the shot from the guys who cover it all the time? Sometimes in the middle of it, I'll be, like we're talking about that low camera inside the turn 3. You can only hold that camera for so long because you just lose it, or he runs into the water truck or something and you can't see anything. So occasionally you get to the point where it's like, okay, who's going on? And I'm trying to listen to Chris Steppen and see who he's talking to and who might... Jimmy Mars! And see who who he's talking about, and that's why it helps to, be picking up who these guys actually are and what car number they're driving, because, when I only have a second to determine whether that's the guy or not, it helps. But sometimes you lack for a shot, but that's just because Gigas is shooting the 4th and 5th place guys who are in a good battle. But I'm looking for the leader, so that's a lot of times when I yell at you or Derek and say, "Hey, get me this guy or whatever," and usually you come through.
My favorite, and I told you this today, I probably told you 100 times, my favorite saying from you is on the earpiece is, I'll take that next time, Webb. Because I constantly shoot. I try not to put the camera down. I try to always be shooting. The premature shooter, I think not, Derek Kessinger. But it obviously helps your job to have guys who know the sport shooting.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. I think it makes the show better. And I try not to micromanage everything either. If you guys are shooting this one thing, I almost assume that's maybe something that I missed that's important. So, having guys that are knee deep in it is really the way to go.
Now, obviously, be honest with me. Be just honest. Right before this shoot started in Arizona, you were at the Rose Bowl. Come on, Rose Bowl, dirt tracks.
Well, the Rose Bowl for the third straight year.
Okay, well, now you suck. I don't want to know the answer to that question. But, okay, Rose Bowl or dirt track, obviously hanging with the dirt on dirt guys is fun.
It's fun. There's, I typically, unless it's been the Rose Bowl, I haven't gone to all the Badger Bowl games over the last, I think they've gone to 9 straight bowls now. So I didn't go to the previous 6, just the Rose Bowl, so I guess I'm just a big timer. But that place, the entire week is just amazing. It's just magical, and that's the reason why every year there's 25,000 to 30,000 people that travel from Wisconsin. Even for the third straight year, there's 30,000 people in the stands on January 1st wearing red. So it doesn't help that you lose 3 in a row, but being there 3 times in a row is just amazing.
Well, I don't think anything compares to being at the dirt track and shooting. Yesterday I was in traffic, wasn't I?
I thought you might die, and that is not something that I want to see because I don't think we'll get a replacement here fast enough.
That would be good TV, though, if the cameraman gets run over.
Well, if you're okay at the end, I think that would make for good internet TV, but I don't trust those factory stock drivers any further than I could throw one of their cars, and you were right down there in traffic.
Okay, in my defense, I thought they had one more parade lap, and I
thought so too, and that's so that's good. But thankfully, you're still here, and we're still on the air.
Believe me, my what tightened up when I heard them hit the loud pedal. I was like, these guys are going green, and there I was I literally was standing on the edge of the track. Well, Jay, thank you for joining us here on In the Dirt. Nice to get an outside perspective of the sport, and you plan to be around for as many as Michael wants to do, right?
I hope so. Yeah, I do other things, but, I've done 20. We've got a total this year of, I think, 21, actually, with Short Track Nationals, Cedar Lake. We'll be in Volusia for 7 days. So, he's ramping this thing up, and I hope people enjoy it.
Are you becoming a fan slightly? I know you're...
Oh, I like being there. I like watching the races. I like, I'm not a, follow it on Tuesday afternoon or whatever, but when I'm there, I'm into it, and, entertaining.
Well, now you've just been a guest on probably the most listened to online radio show. I got to micromanage it down. It's the only show on Blog Talk Radio with a fat tire in my left hand. Well, Jay, thank you again for joining us, and you do great work. You're one of the most easiest directors to work with. You have a calming voice in my ear, and I'm proud to have you.
Sweet. Thank you, Webb.
Rock and roll. Now, we have 5 minutes left. Gray, you still there?
Oh, yeah. What, Webb?
Did you just make bong noises?
No, that wasn't a bong.
Okay, I'm going to give up the last 5 minutes to you and Derek Kessinger, and you can talk about whatever you guys want to. But make sure you close the show out right and hit that theme song. Bail. I've been having fun, looking for things to do for the show.
Mr. Gray, how's it going?
I told you he wanted to bail. Did you hear any of the soundboard stuff? I've been sitting here working on all this crap, trying to make this thing, gold. And you guys are just out there partying.
Typical Webb, out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you been up to?
What? I've been putting together race cars, trying to come up with sponsors, and trying to figure out how to make our studio work better, but you know, not getting any respect, man. I'm losing it.
That's how I feel at Dirt on Dirt. Rigsby gets me no respect. Always on my tail.
No respect.
The whole time.
Is he constantly giving you all the crap?
Yeah, but it's like a little brother crap. You know, you just take it and take your wounds, and you know, at the end of the day, we're bros. I take him like a man. That's for sure.
Well, you have to.
You got to hear this story though. Okay, it's been a bunch of testosterone the last 4 nights here at the house, and all of a sudden, the first lady just opens up, Amber Rigsby, opens up the door, and it just brings full of sunshine. Yeah. She just came in all happy, like, hey, guys, how's it going? You know, Webb had a half chub going on. He loved it. Aren't there any women at all out there? I heard that Arizona was just packed. Oh, yeah, if you go to Arizona State, we went there last week. Oh, my goodness. Let's just say there's ladies out here. That's for damn sure. Well, you guys have Sun Devils. You guys have, like, the ultimate bachelor pad there. So, I mean, why is it a sausage fest up in there? Well, I mean, I try to bring home the ladies, but, of course, we got all these people that are married out here. Every single one of them are married but me, the lone single man. So, ladies, if you're listening, this is D-Suave. Give me a shout-out. Yeah, but see, and there's a difference, though. See, you're supposed to be bringing home a different one every single night so they can see what they're missing. That's what the single guy... I got no transportation. Want me to walk who has a car? 10 miles? Who has a car there? We got the van, of course, the Dirt on Dirt van, and we got a little Fiat. That's perfect. The clown car, we call it. I like my women big. They can't fit in the Fiat. The Fiat 500. That's like the perfect car to go pick up chicks in. It's perfect, but I like my women big, so it's hard to get them in there. Oh, how big? Size 14 or bigger. Ooh, that's getting up there. Yeah. So give me the lowdown on the rest of the week. What are you guys, I mean, what's the plan out there? Because, see, I'm out of the loop completely. Well, tonight I think we're going to go hit up the casino, maybe a couple gentlemen's club. That's what I call them back in Illinois. And then tomorrow we're going to celebrate Michael Rigsby's birthday. He turns 31 tomorrow, so we're going to give him a shout-out on his Facebook wall. Then we got to go live on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern. And then Thursday we got the day off, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, another show. We'll be putting on a showcase again in Tucson. And then wait until after. Me and Webb are driving back from Tucson back to St. Louis, and we're making a movie, Leaving Tucson. So we'll have the preview coming up next week. It'll be a great show. Oh, Facebook exclusive. Will you do me a big favor? Yeah, tomorrow, what's the favor? I'll do anything for you. When you go down into the pit, I want you to walk up to Brad Looney's trailer and say, hey, Brad, Brian Gray says that you are the biggest bitch in motorsports for not knocking Jimmy Mart's ass out. I don't know if I can do that. I got to stay neutral, but maybe we'll have somebody else. No, I just was asking if you'll deliver that message to him. I will deliver that message to him. Tell him to not be a bitch. Don't be a bitch.
Hey, Brian, before we get out of here, I'd like to thank Roby Helm for joining us to talk about the Neesmith Series and the upcoming 525 Series in August. Also, like to thank Mike Pegher from the Northeast. He's a fast track on push. We have 10 seconds left. Thank you for joining us on this third. We'll talk to you next week from the road, probably from Amarillo.